This video is brought to you thanks to the generous support of Artenda, a database presenting a clear and high-quality overview of art opportunities and open calls for artists. Hello dear readers, subscribers and artists of the world. We're back in my home office, so it is time for another video sharing some practical career advice and inside information from the art world. And this time the topic is how you can earn a living as an artist. Becoming a professional artist is a major goal of so many artists out there. You love creating and you would like to do it full time, but you still need to pay your bills and put food on the table. As a result, for this video we have listed 20 ways to make money as an artist, but ranked them from best to worst. And the selection criteria for the ranking were: how lucrative are they? Because you can say you can make money this way, but is it actually doable, or how quickly will you see any results? Are they industry accepted? What are your chances for short-term success, and what are your chances for long-term success? There are more artists than there are galleries to represent them. There are more paintings than walls to hang them. However, do not despair, and especially do not starve, because you can make good money with art. There is a lot of money in art, as it is symbolically illustrated with Hans-Peter Veldman's immersive installation. Nevertheless, you need to be somewhat careful how you pursue those financial objectives to go full-time as an artist, because there are numerous unwritten rules in the art world. And some things are simply not done as an artist due to the ambiguous relationship of art and money. As an artist, you aren't creating commercial goods, you aren't creating utility products or maybe handbags or even decoration. You create art. So there needs to be a clear distinction between your integrity as an artist and a person who sells commercial goods. Therefore, it is not allowed to be too commercial, too sale-focused as an artist. You don't want to sell your soul and your integrity as an artist just for a few dollars. So respect yourself, respect your art, and the art world will also respect you. We have always mentioned that you have to pursue artistic quality and then that the money will follow naturally. However, money doesn't fall from the sky as soon as you're starting to produce some decent artwork in your studio. So where does the money come from? And what are the best ways, the most industry accepted ways to earn money as an artist so that your career will continue to prosper on the long term, so your prices can rise from selling them for $2,000 up to $20,000 in the long term. Therefore, it is absolutely necessary that you are aware of this information that we're about to share in this webinar. And if you follow this advice, you can really make some decent money, because only when you think long term and use the right strategies how to make money, you can go full time or maybe even earn a six-figure yearly income or more. So we start off our list with the number one way of making money, and it is kind of self-explanatory. Selling your artwork, selling your unique pieces. This is by far the number one way of making money as an artist. You create your work, you create what your heart desires the most. You follow your artistic impulses, desires and urges in the studio, and then later on in time you can monetize those efforts by selling that work to a collector or later on in your career to an institution. However, this is of course easier said than done. The art market is overly saturated and there are so much artists out there. So if you simply produce your work, that won't be enough. The truth is, nobody is waiting for another artist. So before we even dive into the different ways how you can generate those sales, the thing you need to understand in the first place is that only by creating a natural demand, because at start there won't be any demand for your work because there are plenty artists to purchase a piece from. As long as there is no natural demand for you as an artist and for your works, it will be very difficult to generate any sales. So the reason why you're not selling is not because you're too expensive or because you're too cheap or because of the aesthetic qualities of your work or that you're too old or too young or whatever. The main reason is that your appeal of your artist profile and the natural demand for your work is too low, hence negative results when it comes to sales. But if you stand out and you create your own niche, or you contribute distinctively to a specific niche in art, then there will be a demand for your work. If you work on making your artist profile more appealing by applying to art contests, residencies, resulting in an upwards career trend so that they not only like your work but also believe in you as an artist, then this natural demand will grow slowly but surely. And it is this natural demand that will result in invitations by art galleries to exhibit or collectors to purchase your work. And doing so, you can get some traction and generate sales. Now, the best way to sell work, to generate sales, is by exhibiting your work. The bulk of all sales in the art world are during exhibitions. The best way, the most effective way and most industry accepted way to exhibit and sell your art is via art galleries. When you exhibit your work at the gallery, there will be a gallery director who is able to represent you and sell your work and be a bit more commercial without having to risk your own artistic integrity. Because otherwise there is this role conflict. You cannot be too commercial, but the gallery director can. And it comes across, of course, a lot more strong and convincing when somebody else is saying that your work is good, instead of saying it yourself. Of course, finding gallery representation is not as easy as it sounds, and we have an entirely different article and video on this, so feel free to watch or read that article and video next. So what if you haven't received any invitations by art galleries? How can you exhibit your work to generate those sales? Well, first and foremost, do not start cold calling those art galleries, because the conversion rate is terrible and it is very much frowned upon, because you're kind of annoying the galleries as they receive numerous submissions by numerous artists every day. They simply cannot say yes to everyone. So instead, let's take matter into our own hands. You can apply to open calls for exhibitions via platforms such as Artenda, where you can also apply for art contests and residencies that most often have an exhibition at the end of the program. You could also rent an exhibition space yourself and possibly share the cost with a few other artists. By doing so, it's a great opportunity to gather some exhibiting experience, to have an exhibition on your artist resume, and also a great opportunity to sell your work. It can also increase your credibility as an artist, even if you host the exhibition yourself, because your artist resume improves, and you can also take some great pictures of your art in an ideal context as exhibition views. Another opportunity to host your own exhibitions is by having an open studio day. This is a great time to invite collectors, family and friends, or people who are following you on social media, and a great place to convert their interest into a sale. The one thing that you want to avoid are the vanity art galleries. These are the types of art galleries that say that they want to showcase your work, but first you need to pay a tremendous fee. And the truth is, their business model is based on making profit based on those fees they charge you. So they're not really focused on making any sales, hence the rather underwhelming results. So try to stay clear from those. Two other avenues to exhibit and sell your work is via online marketplaces and art fairs, but we'll cover those two topics later on in this list. Next, we have artist residencies, a topic we touched very briefly on in our previous chapter. Artist residencies are programs in which an artist stays for a temporary period in a specific environment, where he or she can produce and develop their work, and possibly at the end of the residency there is an exhibition to showcase the work they have done. The great thing about artist residencies is that they kind of provide everything you require. Ideally, your residency offers you, of course, a studio, a budget for working materials, also a daily allowance, lodging, and possibly also a fee to participate. By doing so, you can create and develop your art in an ideal setting and actually get funded and even paid to do so. These residencies are most often funded by institutions, foundations, or sometimes private collectors who are very wealthy that want to support the arts. And in return, they might acquire a work free of charge of yours, but it's definitely worth it. And it's also great to see your work enter one of those valuable collections. Or sometimes they will sell your work at the end of the residency, and then there will be a commission, as there would be the case with a gallery exhibition. These artist residencies are not only a great way to get paid and supported to work as an artist, they're also a terrific way to network, actually. Because at the end of an artist residency, when there is an actual exhibition, validated institutions that organize these residencies often attract various interesting people in the art world that can be very beneficial or instrumental for your future career. Also, having an artist residency on your resume is a validation from the art world, so it's a great asset to have on your resume. The downside of artist residencies is, of course, that you have to be able to be very flexible in your normal life, that you can go away from home for a longer period of time. leave work or leave your family. And also the best artist residencies are very competitive because all the talented artists are applying for the same spots. You can find some artist residencies at, once again, Artenda or, for instance, Res Artists. I will leave links in the description below. Similar to artist residencies, art stipends and grants offer you the possibility to work on your art while getting paid for it. The stipend or grant is a temporary financial support for you to realize your art and to get paid while doing so, regardless of any future sales of your projects. These stipends and grants are awarded to art projects or artists with a specific societal or artistic relevance to them. So most often you will see these art stipends and grants go to artists with projects that have a socio-political message or purpose, which the institution funding the project is backing, that they back this message. And most often these artists work in disciplines that have high costs, for instance, installation art or public sculpture or immersive art installations. So it's more for these types of artists instead of the traditional painter, draughtsman or sculptor who has more commercial value in their work. Having received a grant or a stipend is also a great attribute on your artist resume, similar to the artist residencies. So it is lucrative, it is industry accepted, it's great for the long term, but once again, in short term, it can be rather challenging because it is also very competitive. Next, we have art prizes, awards and contests. In this case, you apply for these contests via open calls, and then a jury will examine your work before being selected as a selected artist or potentially as a finalist. Generally speaking, the top three will receive a cash prize, and all the selected artists or only the finalists are offered an exhibition at the end of the art prize where the laureates are being announced. By doing so, art prizes are a great opportunity to earn some cash, but also a great way to connect with other people who are scouting for emerging artists. And often, of course, they track the art prizes and awards to see any new talent. Even if you're only selected as an artist, it is a validation, once again, a symbolic validation from the art world. So having this on your artist resume will also be beneficial on the long term, even if you don't cash in by winning a cash prize by ending up in the top three. However, please note that there are various types of art contests. Especially the past few years, there has been an increase in the number of new, most often online art contests. And they are kind of like vanity art contests. Because as with the vanity art galleries, they actually monetize on the money coming from the artists that apply. They monetize on application fees, and so their main objective is making a profit instead of showcasing and highlighting these new emerging talents. As a result, it is absolutely crucial that you identify the genuine, real, good art contests. And a few key indicators to do so are the following: the application fee, the jury, the history of the art contest, the exhibition at the end of the show, and also the entity organizing the contest. For instance, an application fee is normal. However, most often the very best art contests do not have an application fee at all, because they are funded publicly or by a foundation or by a government, for instance. Then when it comes to the jury, if they have an actual renowned jury with established artists or renowned art critics, then this art contest is legit and the validation when being selected actually means something in the art world. It makes complete sense when an influential art critic says that you are a great artist, that many people will back this opinion and also believe in you. Whereas if the jury is anonymous or someone who hasn't done anything in the art world, then of course it will mean a lot less, and possibly it will have a less effect in the art world, or there will be less people interested in the results of this art contest. Another key indicator is of course the long-standing history of the art prize. For instance, if previous winners of the art prize are currently actual established artists, then it is clear to say that they know what they're doing and that these art prizes have an actual effect in the art world. Then of course there is the entity organizing the art prize or art contest. If it is a renowned institution, a foundation, or possibly a renowned art magazine, then it is clear that this means something in the art world. Whereas if the organizer is simply an Instagram page or a less renowned online art magazine, then chances are this art contest won't be as efficient, or maybe a vanity art contest. And most importantly, if at the end of the art contest there is an actual exhibition in a physical exhibition space where people can actually see your work and discuss your work, then the art contest will probably legit and worth applying for. To complete the list of art opportunities, we have public art and projects, also via open calls. With public art and art projects, there is a public vacancy for a specific project, be it a public sculpture or an exhibition project. These open calls will have specific criteria they are looking for in your application. They will set out a clear budget and have also their own agenda of what message they want to convey or what topic it should be about. So as a result, one could argue that you are less free from an artistic point of view and that you have to tailor your art and application to the expectations of the open call, of the vacancy. However, as with the residencies, stipends, grants and contests, these public art and projects are still very much industry accepted and a great attribute to your artist resume. And all of these open calls, all of these art opportunities can be found on artenda.net. We highly recommend to have a look for those. A short intermezzo, now we have covered the 5 best ways to earn money as an artist. I also want to mention that if you have some additional questions related to the topics we discuss, I highly recommend you to subscribe to our channel because we discuss multiple videos and it's almost impossible to discuss everything in a single video. Almost every way of monetizing your art that I discuss as an entirely different topic that could have an entirely different video for it. So make sure to subscribe and to stay tuned or go through our playlist of videos with career advice for artists. Up next we have the art fairs. If you are represented by a gallery, chances are that they will represent you also internationally at art fairs where they can maximize your exposure and also generate some sales. However, art fairs are also a great opportunity to earn some money by yourself, even if you don't have any gallery representation. In fact, especially in the United States, there is a vibrant culture and industry of artists renting booths at art fairs and art festivals where they represent themselves and try to make sales in order to make a profit. However, this is less industry accepted, of course, because representing yourself in the art world brings us to this role conflict of your artistic integrity and being too commercial. You're both the creative soul, but also the salesman or saleswoman trying to sell those works, so it's kind of a conflict. Also, there is not a gallery representing you, so you come across as a little bit less successful. However, these art fairs can result in tremendous sales, so they can be very lucrative. Further, in this cultural industry of self-represented artists that are doing a lot of art fairs, they see their work more as a form of decoration, tends towards more as a commercial good. Most often these booths are filled with so much art that you almost cannot see the wall. So there is kind of a less high quality tone to them. So it's a bit less industry accepted, and it's also less good on the long term because as soon as you stop doing those fairs, the income stream will of course go away. Even more, you also need to stand in for all the risk, all the costs, the logistics, etc. So sometimes you could have a negative balance at the end of a fair when the sales weren't as you've expected them to be. Therefore, generally speaking, I'm not the biggest fan of doing these art fairs by yourself, but there are numerous artists that have been tremendously successful with this strategy and that are making really good money by doing so. So it all kind of boils down to the question, what type of artist do you want to be? Do you want to go for the highest achievable goal, critical success and established gallery representation? Or do you simply want to earn a living while being an artist and you are fine with being also a businessman or businesswoman as well as being an artist? That's entirely up to you. Up next we have online marketplaces and selling your work online in general. If you would have a decent following on Instagram, chances are that you can sell some work online. I believe this is a terrific strategy. It goes directly from the artist to the collector, and it happens above all very discreetly. Nobody actually knows that the sale took place and for how much. However, you can also sell your work online publicly with those online marketplaces. But here it is clear to say that there are 2 different types of online marketplaces. At one hand, we have the industry-accepted online marketplaces such as Artsy and First Tips. These marketplaces have a very high standard of the artists they accept and most often need to go via a renowned or validated gallery or art dealer. As a result, it is very high level and it is industry accepted. And then there are the online art marketplaces, where any artist can apply or create an account and put their work up for sale. Or sometimes that they are inviting artists by the dozen to sell their work via their platform. Here, the quality is a bit less because it consists of numerous artists who do not find any galleries to represent them or that are not able to achieve sales by themselves. So it is tremendously oversaturated and you're kind of being identified with those less successful artists. Think of platforms such as Saatchi, Mutual Art, Fine Art America, Single Art, or even Etsy. Therefore, the results of those online marketplaces are rather underwhelming, and it's not very good for your career in the long term because it is not really industry accepted. Also, the prices are being shown to everybody, so it's not very discreet, which can also be harmful if a gallery would be interested in working with you. In short, avoid online art marketplaces. If they are interested, they will contact you directly via your artist website or via your gallery. And if you have a gallery representing you, chances are that you will end up on online marketplaces, but they will be the renowned ones, the good ones. And then it's actually positive for your credibility as an artist. Selling art prints is another opportunity to make money as an artist, and one that we see on all those types of lists of making money as an artist. It is still industry accepted, but I must say it is a lot less lucrative. Especially when this natural demand for your work is rather low, it would be naive to think that starting to sell art prints will have a life-changing impact on your financial situation as an artist. Simultaneously, it can also devaluate your work because you're now offering multiples instead of unicums. So if they were interested in work, instead of going for an original piece, they could go for a very cheap print. So that's also something we're trying to avoid. Nevertheless, you can maintain full artistic integrity and offer work at a lower price. However, don't go crazy on the number of editions. Go for a limited edition, signed and numbered print, and try not to go over 15 prints per edition. Also, please note that printing your art in a professional and qualitative manner is not cheap at all. So you could ask yourself, is it worth it? My advice would be to only do any art prints when your gallery advises this and on their initiative. Another way to make money as an artist is by accepting commissions. In this case, a collector approaches you to create an artwork on demand. So most often they have a specific subject in mind or specific dimensions, a specific size. It's a great benefit, of course, because the artwork is already sold before you have created it. But then on the other hand, the most important downside is that you're a bit confined in your artistic freedom due to their specific request. And this can even be kind of harmful for your artistic integrity. In some cases, the collector simply wants a specific size or one of your characteristic pieces that you make frequently, and they want a specific size or a specific color palette, and then it's absolutely fine. But in some cases, they will have something very specific in mind, a specific topic, and even a specific composition. So your role as an artist is being reduced to the craftsman, the executioner. This is of course less industry accepted and can even be harmful for your career. So if you do commissions, be as discreetly as possible and make sure to clearly differentiate your commissioned art from your actual oeuvre. Also, please note that there already needs to be kind of a natural demand that they want a commission done by you, because there are also numerous artists, if it's simply being a craftsman, that can do these commissions. So don't expect the commission requests pouring in as soon as you are open for commissions. Up next, we have selling art books or artist editions, and I believe this is another industry accepted way to make money as an artist. But here, as with the art prints, quite similarly, it is rather difficult to make this a profitable strategy. It's not very lucrative. Book printing is very expensive to do, and it is also very time consuming. Further, you will also need to have a decent audience or collectors base to sell these books to, simply to make up for the costs for printing, etc. So you can ask yourself, is it worth it in the first place? However, art books can also function as a statement or a printed portfolio. For instance, especially for photographers, this can be a great strategy for your work to be shown beyond the traditional exhibition format. Having a monographic publication is also beneficial for your credibility and for your artist resume. But most often the ones that can actually make it something profitable are the ones that already have a good natural demand for their works and are having some great sales. From this point on in our list, we encounter a number of ways to make money as an artist beyond being an artist. One could call them art-related side hustles, but that could make a nice chunk of money for you as an artist, but that also could harm your career in the long term. As a result, I'll expand and illustrate them a bit less than our previous most important and best ways to make money, but we'll share everything you need to know about them before considering doing them. The first art-related way of making money or side hustle is as an art speaker. You can share your experiences as an artist, inspire others, participate in the debate and discussions of contemporary art, and being involved while making also a little bit of money. Although it is rather hard to find a job as an art speaker, they offer some good money when you land a job, and you don't necessarily need to be an art academic or an actual established artist. Furthermore, it is beneficial for your credibility because you are kind of presented as an authority in the art world. You can actually add it to your resume and make some money while doing so. Next, we have being an art curator. This is kind of in a similar vein as the art speaker. There are numerous artists who also work as curators. Think of Luc Tuymans or Damien Hirst. The artist curator is most often seen as an actual intellectual authority in the art world, and it really goes well with the combination of being an artist. As a result, adding this dimension to your profile as an artist can be really beneficial in the long term for your credibility, and it is of course very industry accepted. However, it is a lot more difficult because in those cases you need to have some experience and possibly also an academic background or a degree in art history or curatorial studies. So it is of course less convenient than, for instance, being an art speaker. Another great combination can be found in the artist art teacher. Here you can share your skills and knowledge and make a living while creating art, albeit in an educational context. You're educating and not developing your oeuvre while making art. This is a very common combination and thus accepted by the art world. You teach the basics of your artistic discipline without spilling your personal technique and secrets. Furthermore, it all takes place in an established and accepted setting. So if you have the chance to do this and you enjoy doing it, definitely go for it. Patreon is an alternative way to get paid as a creator and also as an artist. By doing so, your followers or fans can actually pay a monthly contribution, as small as they want, in order to support you as an artist. Although I'm a big fan of this idea and platform, I do not think this is the most effective way to make money as an artist. To make a decent amount of money on Patreon, you really need to have a large and very engaged audience already, so it probably won't make the greatest difference. Further, it is not common at all in the art world to have a Patreon page, so it is kind of strange but not too frowned upon as well. Crowdfunding is another way to generate money in order to realize, for instance, a specific project. It often happens when an artist does not land that stipend or grant they were looking for in order to achieve their artistic project, so they start a crowdfunding project. And when done right, it is definitely industry accepted and it can actually be a great strategy to move forward as an artist. However, crowdfunding ensures you realizing this specific project, but you are not getting paid at this point, so it's not really lucrative. And if you organize a crowdfunding to simply get paid as an artist to create the art you want, not a specific project, but just to get paid to doing what you love, it is kind of strange and a bit too commercial, and I don't believe the results will be as good. So in this case, Patreon is the better option. Next we have YouTube. YouTube is arguably the only social media platform that has a clear monetization strategy. You create your content, the content results in views, and the views result in ad income. Clear as day. However, even though YouTube can be incredibly powerful in building a following and also earning some money, it is still somewhat frowned upon in the art world. However, this is shifting. I strongly believe that this is changing because of all the renowned art galleries, art platforms, art magazines, art institutions. They all have a YouTube channel. And also some renowned artist studios are also starting their YouTube channel. Here the most important thing is the overall tone of your YouTube channel. If you create professional videos in which you don't sell out or use clickbait titles and thumbnails, it won't do you any harm. In fact, I have seen a couple of artists who have a YouTube channel about their art that I think are really well done and really inspiring to look at, and that I'm interested in that artist. On the other hand, if you go for a more vlogging style of channel where you are chasing the views for the sake of views, you might earn some income in video ads or with some sponsorships, but it will destroy your chances to having a career as a serious artist in the art world instantly. So here you'll have to ask yourself, do you want to be a YouTuber about art, or do you want to be an artist that also has a YouTube channel? If you tend towards maintaining your artistic integrity, your YouTube results will probably a bit less. And if you pursue good results on YouTube, then possibly your artistic integrity as an artist may collapse. As a result, having a YouTube channel is ranked rather low on this list, but I believe this might go up a few spots in the foreseeable future. Next, we have starting an art blog. When it comes to blogging as an art-related side hustle, I would strongly advise you to do this very discreetly and especially not on your own artist website. Keep your blog and profile as an artist as separate as possible and even avoid using your own name on your blog. Blogging about your own art won't result in any decent income, nor will it do any good for your career as an artist. On the contrary, in fact. You can start an art-related blog and try to monetize it with ads and affiliate income, but please know this is kind of a long shot because of the tremendous competition in this niche and the established authorities in the arts. Another art-related side hustle is offering online art courses on platforms such as Skillshare. Whereas being an art teacher is still accepted in the art world, in the art industry, due to the official setting and the nature of the courses in which you are simply doing the basics of your artistic discipline. If you sell your artistic secrets and techniques publicly online, it is kind of on the verge of losing your artistic integrity entirely. It of course depends on how you create your content and what content you share on Skillshare, for instance. However, it is still risky, and the real question is it worth it? So as a result, I would advise you not to. Next, we have affiliate marketing as an artist via your social media channels. Here, if you try to earn some money by promoting some product, you're being way too commercial and your artistic integrity and credibility will collapse instantly. Furthermore, to make any good money, you would need to have a tremendous following. Do not jeopardize your chances in the art world just to make a quick buck. We conclude our list with merchandise and print on demand, where your artwork can be printed and sold on t-shirts, coffee mugs, caps, handbags, and so on. This is an artistic death warrant, in my opinion, especially in the high-end art world. If you are a creative person or possibly an illustrator, then be my guest. But if you want to make it in the art world and you create merchandise of your art or create print on demand, then you're devaluating your art so much, you're being too commercial, so you won't stand a chance in the real art world. So do not do it. This is one of those things that you can find almost on any list on different ways how to make money as an artist. But it has very, very negative consequences in the art world. So it might seem as a good idea in the short term, but in the long term, it will ruin you. To conclude, it is safe to say that there are numerous ways to make money as an artist, and they all have their plus, cons, their opportunities, and their challenges. The first 5 options are by far the best ones. They are the most lucrative and industry accepted, but they all are on the long run. And this is a general trend, of course, to be successful in the art world. If you focus on the long term, you can actually make some really good money. And the things that could work on the short term, that are fast ways to make money, can often be rather harmful for your credibility as an artist. Therefore, always go for the ones that work on the long run, and in the process, try to have a good life-work-art balance. Going full-time too early as an artist is very harmful, and it will lead to making bad decisions or having to compromise your art simply to put food on the table. Therefore, we advise you to have a stable source of income, preferably maybe in the arts, for instance as a staff of a museum or as an art handler or as a teacher, as we've mentioned in this video. You'll either starve or jeopardize your chances for long-term success in the art world. Focus on creating the best art possible. Work on your profile as an artist. Try to create this natural demand. And if you have the right information, the information we shared in this video, in our other videos, and in our online articles on contemporaryartissue.com, you will be able to make good money, because there is good money in art. Feel free to read this full article and have the full table of all the different ways how to make money as an artist on our website, contemporaryartissue.com. If you would be interested in personal advice in which one-on-one I am advising you how you can move forward as an artist, in the form of a written advisory report and a 1.5-hour video call where we will dissect the strengths of your art, the weaknesses, your greatest strengths, opportunities, also the luring pitfalls as an artist. Feel free to click on the link in the description below and in the pinned comment. I must say this service is highly in demand, so there could be a 1-month waiting list. But if you are interested and you can afford it, feel free to apply for this service. Otherwise, you can simply consult our articles and online videos with more career advice. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Feel free to watch our video on how to become a successful self-taught artist in 6 steps next. This video is actually also very useful for trained artists, so definitely give it a watch next. Support us on Patreon and please consider subscribing to stay posted for more contemporary art and more practical career advice. Bye.